Guten Tag. In commemoration of the 25th anniversary of the fall of the Berlin Wall, I want to discuss a couple of questions. The first being, what can we learn from Germany's divided past? And the second, why should we continue dwelling on the past? First, it's important to understand what the Berlin Wall was and what it stood for. The Berlin Wall was built around West Berlin by East Germans to keep it separated from East Germany. It was meant to discourage East Germans from trying to flee into the democratic West. Things after the Second World War weren't very good between Germans and Americans, and especially not good between East and West Germans. The East German government even cut off West Berlin from obtaining the supplies it needed for its citizens. The East Germans were not above hurting other Germans who only years prior had been their neighbors, so this level of distrust between communist governments and democratic governments is very clear to see. The United States was not without blame, however. Americans were distrustful of the new communist state because after the war, East Germany was looking a lot like a puppet to our newfound enemy of the Soviet Union. However, this isn't to say that the United States wasn't also distrustful of West Germans. Even though the United States had a lot to do with the economic recovery of West Germany, there was still a distrust because they bounced back so quickly. A quick recovery, after all, could mean a quick return to war. Within America, there was also an anti-German hysteria where anything related to German or Germany was hidden away or destroyed. So, on a cultural level, even being associated with Germans during this time just wasn't something anybody wanted to be or be associated with. Even today, hurtful German stereotypes still exist and thrive in the United States. Just say the words Guten Tag, and people assume you're a goose-stepping tyrant with a mustache, or, at best, a leather pants-wearing beer-drinking hillbilly. On a government level, there's also been distrust between the governments even today, with both governments guilty of spying on one another. So, addressing the question, what can we learn from Germany's divided past, it is important to realize that the Berlin Wall was a symbol of fear. In order to oppress its people and maintain control, East Germany literally walled away the temptations of the West, and promised its citizens peace, prosperity, and a new car. What we need to learn from divided Germany is how to have a transparency between governments, and more importantly, how to have transparency between governments and its people. Walls and secrets only lead to hostility. So this brings us to our second question. Why should we dwell on the past? I mean, it's the past. Well, it's important to remember that this didn't happen that long ago. If we forget things like divided Germany and the Berlin Wall, what's to stop them from happening again? Even today, we can see the same trend in Korea, with North and South Korea sharing the most hostile border in the world. The world is only going to become a better place if we work together and not keep each other apart. The fall of the Berlin Wall represents freedom. Again, transparency between states and transparency between governments and its people is very important in order to avoid conflict. Governments have a duty to do what is right by their people while still maintaining an international morality. I think it's important to continue to commemorate this historic event and celebrate the fall of the Berlin Wall because it reminds us of all of these important lessons. The Berlin Wall proves that the desire for freedom is stronger when it is denied.